Today we're going to talk about Blonde Revolution. This is my information. So Blonde Revolution is the latest launch, before, of course, Deluxe Prime, but Blonde Revolution, which has gained a lot of traction and popularity. While it is called Blonde Revolution, I want you to keep in mind that it's not just for blondes, it's for any lightened hair. So it could be perfect for if somebody has a base of a level 2, a level 3, and they've lightened a balayage and it's more of like a level 4, 5, 6 brunette, the fact that it's still pre-lightened, they would be a good candidate for Blonde Revolution. So any pre-lightened hair. So it is a complete solution for lightened hair. It has repair, resistance, and reconstruction and restoration. It's a powerful combination of active ingredients designed to deeply reconstruct and revitalize blonde hair. So the technology is extreme biorepair, peptide rebuild, and vita resistance. It has 90% less breakage. So we actually put Blonde Revolution in the reconstructive and repair category. So the most optimal results, it's obtained through using the entire line. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what Blonde Revolution is. So when we talk about Bond Restore technology, we're speaking to the extreme biorepair, which has amino acids with smaller molecular structures that are able to really penetrate past the cuticle into the surface of the cortex, which restores bonds, flexibility, and strength. So when we talk about the really nanoparticles that go in and work on reconstruction and repair, because as you know, whenever we lighten hair, it does weaken it. So it restores that pH balance. It reconstructs or rebuilds the bonds that may be weakened. Excuse me. Then we have peptide rebuild. Peptides that penetrate the hair fiber and it interacts directly with those damaged areas and creates repairing those peptides. And then vita resistance, which is an intelligent system that restructures the hair from the inside out and strengthens the strands. So it is a reconstructive and repair system. So I want to also reiterate that even though the products are purple and the bottles are purple, it is not just in a toning line, right? So shampoos, conditioners, the only product that has toning effects is the mousse. But everything else in the line fights oxidation. So it's actually a proactive solution as opposed to reactive when lightening hair. So when we talk about lightening hair, when somebody invests in highlights, of course they want to make their tone or color last as long as possible. We do have purple shampoos or purple products that will tone the hair. However, this is more of a proactive solution in protecting those color molecules to fight oxidation from hair or the color to become brassier or the tone to not stay natural or the tone that was put on by the stylist. So when we talk about the antioxidant shampoo, it's going to help preserve luminous blondes for longer. However, it also works with redheads. I found great success for those that are copper redheads or even red violet redheads, because there is a point when the color oxidizes even for redheads that it goes a little too brassy. You can have a natural red, but then you don't want it to get too orangey or not have the natural tone. So with Blonde Revolution, it's going to fade to tone, not fade to brass, too yellow, or too orange. So the shampoo fights oxidation. It removes pollutants that cause oxidation. It gently cleanses and it promotes shine. And it has all of the actives that we spoke of before, the extreme biorepair, the vita resistance, and the peptide rebuild. And when you use this shampoo, after a few uses, you will actually feel the hair, how it's laid the cuticle down and it's create a barrier, almost like a coating. Very natural, but it smooths out the cuticle so that it protects any oxidative agents um, or external agents that would create oxidation in the hair color. So it does have a, barrier of protection. So then we go into the immediate neutralizing mousse. I would like to say this mousse is a Backbar product. It is not a styler or a take-home. It is very, very pigmented. So we use it as a Backbar surface. It neutralizes and revitalizes blonde tones. It has a light, creamy, and airy texture. It neutralizes unwanted tones while also hydrating the hair, and it's easy to spread for smoother application. I've been telling my stylists that if a client comes in between for like a toner refresh, or they just find that their hair is too brassy, it is actually more cost effective on their ROI to tone with a revitalizing immediate neutralizing mousse instead of using a toner color, whether it's a semi-permanent or a direct dye, whatever they're using. Because when you retone, you're not repairing, you're just depositing more color molecules. The color molecules are already there in the hair. They just need to be protected and neutralized. Where if you use the mousse as opposed to color, you're going to also repair, restore, bring shine, and all of those actives of extreme biorepair, vita resistance, and peptide rebuild will go into the hair follicle or the hair strand. So the difference between using a toner, one, it's more cost effective, and two, you're also treating the hair as opposed to just laying on more color molecules on that hair. So I always suggest if you have clients who are coming in for those in-between toning, Blonde Revolution should be their take home, and they can come in and do the immediate neutralizing mousse service in the back bar. And it is more cost effective for the stylist because they're not using more color that really doesn't have a return like the mousse does. Any questions in the shampoo or the mousse?
Yes.
Yes.
What the
Sure.
level of brassiness? Are you talking about level 10, level and like what how dark does can that be that it works?
Sure. So you can use it with level 7 and above. And honestly, I've had good results with even level 6. It's just how long you leave it on. So if you're at like a level 10, a really pale yellow, you're going to only leave it for 2 minutes. It's a visual. It is extremely pigmented. So I don't know if any of you have used the Champagne Blonde in Deluxe Prime Spray or seen it. Have any of you guys seen the how pigmented
Mhm.
that spray is? It is actually more pigmented, the mousse. So when you use it, it's very visual. So around level 10, I would say 2 to 3 minutes. Level 9, you're going to leave it on a little bit longer. Level 7, when you're starting to see more gold, you can leave it on for like 5 to 10, depending on the porosity of the hair. But another great key point to that is that if the hair is really porous, it's also repairing that porosity. We're just going in with a toner, it's not having reparative ingredients, right? It's just kind of putting the color on, where the mousse is also going to repair. With level 6, I'm not going to get an extreme ashy neutralization, but I'm going to get a natural neutralization. And what I mean about that is if the level 6 color is more orangey, it's going to bring it down more to a caramel, if that makes sense. It's not going to completely ash it out, but it's going to subdue it enough to where it has a nice natural reflection. Did that answer your question?
I have a question.
Sure.
The mousse, how long does the tonality from that stay in the hair?
It stays again depending on how the client their washing routine. So it's going to stay equally like color, a toner. So if the client is shampooing every day with hot water and not a good quality shampoo, of course, it's not going to last as long as if they had a nice regimen. When I had my blonde hair, I used the toning mousse and it would last me about, I would say, 4 weeks because I wash around 2 to 3 times a week. So like 12
Okay.
washes for me. Yeah.
Okay, so we really have got to stress to them this is not a styling mousse. This is a toner
This
in
is a
mousse
toner.
form.
Yes.
Okay. And how much are you charging for that service as an in-between maintenance?
You can charge anywhere between 30 to $40. Um, but that would be added to let's say like your blow dry, right? So it really depends on the stylist. Because it's not, you're not just using the mousse, you're doing the entire protocol. So when they come in, step two is the mousse, but you're using different products of the entire Blonde Revolution line to also repair and restore.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it can be, yeah, it can be, honestly, it can be anything from $30 um, and an added blow dry, or it can be with like a haircut. It really depends on the stylist, the salon, and the demographic around them. Any other questions? I will say the mousse is also a really great tool for color correcting. There's times when I have, let's say, done a full highlight and the client has old color, um, and I need to what I call cleanse the canvas because if I were to just go in and tone on top of that, it's not going to be nice and even. And I'm going to have to formulate like one formula from here down to the roots, another formula here, another formula on the ends. I like to use the Blonde Revolution mousse to cleanse the canvas, neutralize it, and then it makes it easier for me to layer on another toner that looks more even on the hair for someone who has a color correction um, and a lot of old color deposit. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the new Restructure Soft Cream. So this soft cream restores damaged complex bonds, revitalizing the molecular structure of lightened hair. So it gives you immediate restoration for weakened hair, recovery of molecular bonds and replacement of protein loss during the lightening, recovers elasticity and restores hair integrity. So this would be used when we talk about the protocols here in a few minutes for someone who has really stressed hair after lightening, or maybe we're taking a client who has been having highlights upon highlights for a long period of time and they're experiencing breakage or a lot of fragility in their hair. We're going to incorporate Restructure Soft Cream into the protocol because it's going to give that restoration, it's going to repair those molecular bonds, and it's going to give more protein into the hair to create that strength and bring back the elasticity and restoration of the hair integrity. All of the products, again, have the extreme biorepair, vita resistance, and peptide rebuild. The next product in the Blonde Revolution line is Acid Anti-Breakage. It protects against breakage and elasticity loss. It immediately balances the pH. It deeply seals the cuticle and it restructures the weakened hair fiber. So when we lighten, we are using the most lightener has the strongest alkalinity with color. So it's going to raise the pH level of the hair. It's going to open up the cuticle. We really need to balance that pH after. So the acid anti-breakage cream is going to bring that pH back to stability so that later on, as the client is washing their hair, styling their hair, it doesn't create breakage. So a lot of the time, if you don't bring the pH down, the client's hair immediately will look nice and soft, right? But when they go home and we're looking at when they're home and styling, maybe a week later, this is where clients start to realize, oh my goodness, I'm experiencing some breakage. It's because the pH was not balanced back to an acid state, and therefore the hair became weaker and weaker, and then it eventually breaks. So this is a great tool to bring that pH balance down. I've even used it when I'm using high lift color, or if I'm bringing someone much higher, I'm lifting a lot, right? So if I'm maybe have someone who's a natural level 5 and I'm bringing them up to a level 9 and I'm using 30 or 40 volume to get there, I'm going to want to go back in and balance the pH of the hair because I've really opened up that cuticle, stressed it to try to get the lift that I needed. So it's always nice to go back, balance it to an acid state because one, a sealed cuticle is going to prolong color because if the cuticle is open, color molecules will come out. And also it's going to strengthen the hair because if the cuticle is open, we're going to have external agents weaken the hair more. And then if you use heat styling, it could also break the hair. So this is a really important and really key tool for a stylist who's doing a lot of lifting, whether it's with color or with lightener, because you really need to bring that pH balance back to an acid state to reduce breakage. Any questions with acid anti-breakage?
There's a question in the chat.
Okay, sorry.
It says, this sounds like it would go up against Olaplex. Can you explain why this would be better than Olaplex?
Sure. So I'm not sure if everyone is quite understanding how Olaplex works. So when you talk about a bond reconstructor like Olaplex, and the science of it, it is creating what they call a covalent bond bridge on a disulfide bond. So a disulfide bond is the strongest bond within the hair structure. We have hydrogen bonds, salt bonds, etc. But the disulfide bond for the hair to really snap and break, those bonds have to be completely destroyed. When you have Olaplex or a product that says they are a bond rebuilder, it is it has to break. Those bonds have to break for Olaplex to work, meaning that the bonds have to be broken, and in those shattered bonds, it kind of creates a spackle that then creates a bridge to put it together. If the hair or the bonds don't break, Olaplex or any other bond reconstructor, like a Wellaplex, they won't work because you have to have broken bonds for that product to work. Acid anti-breakage, it just seals and brings everything down. So if you use 8X powder, which is why we call it a repair agent, and we give you those 8 different things of why we use it. It reduces heat in the foil. The bee propolis protects the hair. Does it have bond repair properties? It does, but that's not the only thing it does. So if you combine 8X powder into your lightener or color, and then you add acid anti-breakage, you're doing more than just taking the remnants of the disulfide bonds and spackling together and trying to kind of bring that disulfide bond and stick it back together. Yes, does 8X powder do that? It does, but it's not the only thing it does. It protects everything else. And if there is no breakage, because the number one thing for 8X powder is to protect from breakage, then you follow acid anti-breakage. It's just going to keep restoring the fiber of the hair so that it doesn't break in the future. With Olaplex, my husband's in construction and actually builds bridges. It's as if a bridge were to start collapsing, right, in chunks, and we're just kind of spackling and sticking it up there in hopes that the bridge doesn't eventually fall, right? If we don't do any maintenance to it, the bridge is not going, the bridge is going to eventually break if you're just kind of patching up the holes. Acid anti-breakage combined with 8X powder is essentially kind of reinforcing that entire bridge and then preventing it from breaking. Does that make sense? I know that was kind of convoluted, but it's really difficult sometimes to speak on Olaplex. They have really great marketing, but the only way Olaplex will work is if the hair is broken or the disulfide bonds are broken.
I have a question. So can you
Sure.
use the Restructure soft cream with the acid anti-breakage? Or is it
Yes, it is
okay?
part of the protocol. So Restructure Soft Cream is kind of going to be like your Olaplex, that now the hair has been pushed so far that we need an extra agent to kind of create that reconstruction of those bonds. Um, so in those protocols, we have 4 different ones depending on the severity of hair damage. So a lot of times I've had clients who have had severe lightening breakage, and I won't lighten their hair until I've done a few backbar services of Blonde Revolution to make sure that I am not going in and creating more damage, more problems. I'm going to repair, bring the pH down, and make that sure that that hair is stable enough to then in the future start to begin the lightening process again. Sometimes it's very hard to kind of speak on that. I don't ever want to say poorly about another brand. Olaplex is a great product. It's just we need to educate our stylists as to what products we're using and why, right? I remember when first Olaplex came out, I was I think it was like 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And you can remember in the beginning of those years, people were pushing the hair too far. And then they kind of got a little bit of backlash. And that's because they weren't really fully transparent in how the product worked. If you are a stylist who works with the integrity of hair in the forefront, adding Olaplex into your solution is not really going to do much if you're already careful, right? Because you're not stressing the hair, you're not pushing the hair to the brink. But at the same time, when Olaplex came out, fashion colors were having like a big popularity. And for fashion colors, you have to have platinum. I mean, like very white hair. So then stylists were thinking, oh, I can just use Olaplex. I can push that boundary because Olaplex says, bond builders aren't, hair's not going to break. But then hair started to break. So we really need to educate our stylists as to why you would choose the product, that there is no magic solution of hair never breaking, that we still need to work with the integrity of hair in mind. And if you feel that the lightening or doing a color service is almost like too risky, I always tell them it is. Repair the hair first, then go in. Because if you're relying on hoping that this product is not going to break the hair, then you're approaching color from not a good not it's not a good approach to say, well, maybe the hair will break and maybe not. No, we want to very much approach something saying, I will not break hair, if that makes sense. So we're going to go to the next product, which is the Instant Dose. So this is an amazing product. It yields a huge ROI. I think each bottle is around $3 for the cost of the stylus. It comes in a box of 6. And it's an immediate dose of hydration, reconstruction, and repair. So it acts directly on areas damaged by lightning. It combats porosity. It has intensive restorative benefits. It helps replenish proteins and amino acids lost during the lightning process. And it's a highly concentrated dose with a 60-second treatment. So it's similar to the dose in nutrient fusion. I like to say for stylists that this is kind of the gateway to the rest of the line. If you have a client who maybe doesn't want to invest or spend the time of getting the entire protocol of Blonde Revolution, adding a dose to your service is going to give them those immediate benefits and results, and the client is going to love it. And then they're more apt to be open to any other of the longer protocols. I also say that the Blonde Revolution Instant Dose is a little bit thicker than Nutrient Fusion. So before applying on the hair, I like to run it under hot water. It kind of helps emulsify the solution, and then you just kind of take it out on your hand, emulsify, and rake it through the hair. I also like to put a hot towel around and let the client sit for 5 minutes because it penetrates more into the hair, but it also gives a more luxurious experience to the client. Any questions on the dose? Nope, perfect. And then we have Net Blonde
Wait,
Mask.
I have
Oh,
one.
sure,
So
sure,
the
sure.
infant dose can just be used by itself. You don't have to use anything else with it. It's just a nice little quick reparative treatment for the back bar.
Yes, we do suggest that you use our shampoo, the Blonde Revolution shampoo, and then the dose. But I've also just used it as a quick upgrade or like building your ticket. This is a great way for a stylist to build their ticket. So let's say I haven't done a lightening service, right? But I have a haircut and I know that she has a lot of highlights. And then I can see stress points or maybe split ends, some weakened areas in her hair. I'm going to build my ticket and say, hey, let's add some repair and restoration. Let's combat porosity in your hair. And I will suggest having a Blonde Revolution instant dose and add it to that haircut because I'm already shampooing and I'm going to condition, right? I've already got 2 steps out of the 3. I'm just going to add 1 more and build my ticket. And I can add this anywhere between $15 to $30 extra onto my haircut. So it's not like, and when you look at the cost for $3, $20, that's still a big return. And then the client is going to love it. So the next time that they come in and we retouch those highlights or we do something else, I can now incorporate more of the protocols into the service if I'm doing color, or even if it's still coming back for a haircut, I can do a more penetrative protocol to restore the hair.
Well, I'm sorry for asking, but if you were to use one of these products before a lightning service, which one would you use?
Before a lightning service,
Correct.
you can use any of them, but I would do acid anti-breakage. So if in the Blonde Revolution line, if somebody um, needs a little bit more balance and restoration before I go in and lighten, I would use acid anti-breakage. I also use it in between. So and when I say in between, if somebody's coming in just for a retouch of their highlights, I'm really only putting lightener from the regrowth to where the line of demarcation is. So I'll retouch that and then I'll put acid anti-breakage from that point of line of demarcation to the ends. So while the new lightener is processing, the ends are getting repair, restoration, and all of that hydration and balance. So you can also put it in between your full oils, in between your balayage, so that you can do that service all in one.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I try to push the stylist to, yes, we give you protocols, right? But there's also creative ways that you can incorporate these protocols while you're also doing other services. So like the acid anti-breakage in between your foils, or I can even put the instant dose in between my foils. So it really combining those gives you more, like you're not spending more time, because a lot of rebuttals that I get from stylists or even salon owners, when I show them protocols, they're like, oh, I just don't have the time to do all these steps, right? In reality, they're already doing 2 of the steps. They're shampooing and they're conditioning. So how can we use these other products creatively and diagnostically while we're incorporating it into our color service? So if you're only retouching, if you're only doing a gray coverage, right? You're only applying color to the root. Why not repair the ends and combine all of that into a full service? So really speaking to how you can use these products creatively to maximize time behind the chair for the stylist and the client, but still giving the client the best end result possible to restore their hair. So following up, we have Net Blonde Mask, Net Mask Blonde, sorry. You guys are all familiar with the Net Mask. The Blonde Revolution Net Mask also has the more amino acids than the regular Net Mask, and it has that oxidation properties of protecting color. So it is a web effect mask that works by filling in the damaged areas of the hair strand during the lightening process. It recovers hair vitality, eliminates porosity, and enhances the color, and it restores the natural integrity of the hair. So this is great to also use in the Backbar, but this is a great retail product. So if that client is doing Blonde Revolution services in the Backbar, they can prolong their hair health at home by incorporating the net mask with Blonde Revolution. Again, you're going to want to emulsify and clap your hands so that you can activate the ingredients and have the web effect. Any questions? Nope, perfect. And then we have Impassible Blonde. So Impassible Blonde is an amazing product. I will say, because I know that you guys have, I believe, Color Wow, correct? Impassible Blonde is our version of what Dream Coat would be. I've been doing some research on Dream Coat. Dream Coat lasts up to 4 washes. Impassible Blonde gives you one more. It waterproofs the hair up to 5 washes. Another major key differentiator is that if you see in the bottle and in the solution, these little speckles of shimmer, it has mica in there that gives you this mirror-like shine. So it gives you almost like an luminescence finish, which is really nice on blonde hair, because sometimes blonde hair, when you highlight so much, it will get a little bit opaque and lose its reflective and illumination, where Impassible Blonde will build that into the hair so that the hair is shinier and more reflective. It is a finishing product with a hair shielding effect that combats frizz and restores shine. The active ingredients that are boosted by heat styling tools. So it is heat activated. So you put it on with damp hair, and then you will want to blow dry it in and then heat style with a curling iron or flat iron. And it will last up to 5 washes. So I can go, put Impassible Blonde, blow dry it in, style. The next time I wash my hair. I don't have to keep reapplying. I can just reactivate those properties with my blow dryer again. So you can use it pre and post use of heat styling tools, protection of up to 446 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, the big seller is that it has that mirror-like shine. And now people say, like, waterproof. What do you mean by waterproof? It doesn't mean that if you get in the shower and you get water, that your hair is just magically going to stay dry. But I will say that in high humid areas, it will minimize frizz, or like working out, or even like when it's hot outside and the nape of my neck gets a little sweaty. When I wear my hair straight, it doesn't kink up, because as you can see, my hair is very curly. It stays smooth, which is a really nice thing for when I wear my hair straight, because I don't want to worry about my hair expanding or my curl coming back, when in reality I wanted to wear my hair smoother. So this is a great option for those stylists that love Dream Coat. Now you can position Impassible Blonde, because it's going to give them one more wash. The client one more wash, and then the mica properties give the hair a nice luminescent reflective field. Any questions?
Jeanette, this is Lee again.
Hello.
If you use it in conjunction with styling products, use it before or after the styling products, and will it take away its lasting ability if you use it with styling products?
So it does not take away its lasting ability. I would layer the styling product first, especially if it's a mousse. The reason is because mousses tend to have some alcohol properties, or anything with like a hold. I would layer that on first, let the hair absorb it, and then I'm going to put Impassible Blonde on top, because it's going to create a protective shield over it. If you were to put Impassible Blonde on first you might create a barrier to where if you put another product on top, it may not absorb as well. So I would just do the products first that they're needing. Maybe it's like a root lifter, a mousse, or something with a little bit more hold. And then I would put Impassible Blonde on top. However, that doesn't mean that it's not going to alter if you're going to do a finishing spray. You know, like you've dried your hair and you've curled it and you want to put a texture spray or a hairspray on top of that, or a shine spray, or maybe an oil. That won't alter the waterproof effect, and it won't alter the other product. But if you're doing a memory hold from that you need to apply on wet hair first product, I would put that product on first, then Impassible Blonde, then your dry finishing products. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect. It's a really great it's an amazing product. We keep running out of it, and we've ordered a lot more. We were not expecting, I mean, we knew it was going to be a good product, but it's really been a bestseller. And we hope to have more available. But I will say, like, in the new year, we should have that backstock issue restored, because we've been ordering more and more based on demand. And this is just a really great product that if you're trying to shift your stylists and salons from Color Wow and Dream Coat, this is the product that you can open up that conversation with. So here we talk about the entire line of Blonde Revolution. You see it will split it between professional and home care, and also the different issues that a client may have. So for dullness, home care, Impassible Blonde. It's going to bring in that shine, that reflective properties to the hair. We have for porosity issues in the professional sector, we have the instant dose. For breakage and brittleness, we have Reconstructive Soft Cream. For elasticity and loss, Acid Anti-Breakage. And long-lasting salon quality blonde, we have the shampoo. And in retail or home care, we have the shampoo and the net blonde mask. So the two retail options is Impassible Blonde, shampoo, and mask. Everything else is Backbar, as well as the mousse. So these are the salon protocols. We have Blonde Fast, Anti-Porosity Blonde, and Blonde Damage. And you can incorporate the mousse into any of these protocols if the client needs some toning effects. So for Blonde Fast, on dry hair, so if the hair is dry and you're balancing porosity, you're going to use the shampoo, the dose, and then finish with Impassible Blonde. For Anti-Porosity Blonde, they have porous and dry hair. You're going to add the Acid Anti-Breakage along with the dose. And then for Blonde Damage, for someone who has more severe brittleness and more prone to breakage, you're going to do the entire protocol. You're going to remove the dose, and you're going to add the Reconstructive Soft Cream. And here it goes into each one. So Blonde Fast instantly repairs dry hair, promotes softness and combability, and restores shine. So step 1 is shampoo, step 2 is dose, step 3 is Impassible Blonde. And these are, and I can send this to you after, but you can see that the Blonde Fast service menu, the suggested treatment cost can be anywhere between $30 to $50. I honestly, depending on the demographic and where the salon is, it can even be $20. But you can see the margins and how much estimated profit from the service the salon can get. Anti-Porosity Blonde, it's going to seal the cuticle for immediate smoothness, improves combability, restores shine to the hair and the appearance of the ends. So this is where we do the pre-shampoo. Someone asked, can we use Acid Anti-Breakage pre-lightening or pre-service? In Anti-Porosity Blonde, you would use Acid Anti-Breakage pre-shampoo. Then you can lighten color. Then you're going to do step 1, shampoo. Step 2, instant dose. Step 3, impassible blonde. And this is the service menu for anti-porosity protocol. The suggested treatment cost can be anywhere between $40 to $60. You can see average 10 clients per week. The stylist can make anywhere between $400 to $600, and it also has a 96 to 95% margin, which is really nice. And then we have Blonde Damage, which helps balance the hair pH, restructures the weakened hair fiber, and adds more softness. So you're going to start with step 1 is Antioxidant Shampoo. And then you're going to overlay both the Restructure Soft Cream. So you're going to apply Restructure Soft Cream first. Then you're going to apply acid anti-breakage. We don't mix our products together. We layer them on. And then you can put under the hair dryer for 10 minutes to open up the cuticle and really have those products penetrate. Then take them to the wash house, rinse, and then you can finish with Impassible Blonde. And then, of course, because this is for more severely damaged hair, you're using more products. The suggested treatment cost is a little bit higher, and then it also has a nice margin for your salon.
When you put them under the dryer, do they go with the cap or without?
Yes, I would put them with a cap just so that we can maintain the moisture. And sometimes if there's no dryer available, like I said, a hot towel is actually really nice. So a lot of the times in my salon, in situations like this, instead of putting someone under the dryer, I will just wrap a hot towel, put the plastic cap on, and then I'll put an eye mask on them, drop a few essential oils, and then it becomes a more elevated experience for the client to where I can charge more if I'd like, right? So it really in the salon, it's all about salon client experience. So if we can elevate the experience more, clients are going to be more likely to come have return in having those requesting those services more. But yes, you can put them under the dryer with a cap. We want to maintain the moisture of the product. And then the last one would be Luminous Blonde for brassy blonde hair lacking shine, extends salon color vibrancy, corrects brassiness, revitalizes blonde highlights, delivers intense shine. So now we're doing the entire protocol for restructure, but also toning. So you're going to shampoo and use the neutralizing mousse. For mild brassy tones, you're going to leave up to 3 minutes, moderate brassy tones, 5 minutes, intense brassy tones, 10 minutes. And then you're going to rinse, overlayer the Restructure soft cream, leave for 10 minutes, rinse, and then finish with Impassible Blonde. But really, depending on the client, I have also incorporated Neutralizing Mousse into the Blonde Damage service menu where you add the acid anti-breakage. So it's really, I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I don't know how. There we go. Can you see me now? That's perfect. So you can incorporate that mousse into any of the protocols. Each one is really diagnostic. Really, anytime a client sits in my chair, I'm going to diagnose their hair health because they may have been keeping up with the aftercare at home. So maybe they're not needing the entire protocol when they return. And I'm just incorporating based on the needs of the client. And that's really important to tell your stylist that, because then the client is not going to feel that I'm just doing this to get more money out of them. I've noticed that when I speak very transparently and educate my clients and even praise them that they've been keeping up with their aftercare and they sit in my chair and I'm like, your hair looks amazing. You've been doing great. I don't have to do this entire service. I'm just going to keep up with a dose. they end up purchasing more retail. It's like the positive affirmation, positive speak to the client to where I'm like, great, you can take more net mask home, more Impassible blonde, and they're open to more retail options. Yeah, somebody asked how many sprays of your version of Dream Coat for an application. I honestly use maybe 4 spray. I will section my hair. I'll do one mist, drop a section two, and then do one side and one side. And then I emulsify really nicely and begin to blow dry. I will say that if you go too much of the product, um, it becomes a little too heavy. So I really say first start, a little goes a long way with our products. I like to say we're like a buildable foundation. Start small, and if you feel like you need more, then add more the next time because it's better to then, have to rewash the hair because it's too heavy. Any other questions? And if you guys have any questions in other products that are similar to Color Wow, because I was having a conversation, I think he's in a class, Hugh, about which products could be similar to Color Wow, Impassible Blonde being like Dream Coat. I am diving in a little deeper and doing that research. So if you have any questions, I can break that down to you, and then I'll send that list to you when I have it all finalized, because we have a lot of amazing products that have the same benefits.